Kiva, do you love me?
Girl,
are you riding next to my really bad credit score?
Oh my god.
Hello wealth builders, and welcome back to another episode of The Bemused. If we haven't met before, my name is Akiva. I am a budding financial planner, and on this channel we talk all things personal finance for young adults just like me. So if you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing. So you guys, so much has happened over the last few weeks. I don't even know where to begin. My money has just been flying left and right. In a previous video, I told you guys all about my whole car repair / living apartment situation and how I was on the brink of homelessness, literally. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you go watch that first before watching this video, because that way the story will make a whole lot more sense. So I basically just want to conclude this whole saga, tell you guys, fill you in on what's been going on and how everything turned out, and share with you guys how this whole debacle has affected my finances. And I'm going to try to do that in as little time as possible, because there is a lot. Like, this is about to get interesting. So let's start with the apartment situation. So as I mentioned in the first video, I was trying to secure my roommate and I another apartment that was in my same apartment complex, but this apartment was through a low-income housing program. And the apartment we had applied for, although it was smaller than the unit I was living in, and if you guys haven't seen my apartment tour video, I'll also link that above. You can see where I was living. That apartment was super affordable. We were applying for it was $14.19 a month, utilities included, so that would have been perfectly within our budget. My mom's calling me. Hello. So basically the low-income housing manager and the property manager of the complex were just giving me a really hard time, being super difficult and unnecessary and spiteful for no reason. So ultimately, while I'm like literally heading out on vacation, which if you haven't seen that video yet, what is you doing, fam? I'll put a link right up here. But anyway, on my way out, these people want to drop the bomb on me that even though finally, ultimately, based on our income, my roommate and I were approved for the apartment, basically in the last final checks, the property manager ran our credit and was like, basically, oh, well, sorry, your roommate's credit doesn't satisfy our requirements, which was highly annoying because one, her credit score that they pulled was literally 8 points lower than their minimum. Second, it's like, I've been a resident here for a year, you've never gotten a late check from me, you know, like, it doesn't matter. Like, literally her words to me was, if one profile is good and one is bad, the whole thing is bad. So my options were either I could proceed with the apartment by myself and she can't live there, or we gotta go. So essentially what I chose to do was just to go and find somewhere else to live. Because especially about how spiteful and ridiculous they were being throughout the whole process, I didn't want to take the chance of renting the apartment by myself, having my roommate still technically live there, and get into any issues with them. So basically, while I'm away on vacation, I ended up just putting on a phone plan on my phone at the very last minute. So even though I'm on vacation, trying to relax, trying to have fun, I'm also like calling our short list of backup apartments that we had to see if anybody had any availability. Meanwhile, my roommate is in somebody's Guatemala, so like communication was just, it was just a mess. Calling, like nowhere has availability, or if they do have availability, it's for something that is outside of our budget, which of course wasn't happening. So I got back from vacation on the 26th, late night, Sunday night. So it's now Monday the 27th, and I need to be out of my apartment in 4 days, and I have absolutely no idea what is happening or where I'm gonna go or where I'm gonna live. And so at this point, it's basically like, well, nothing's really working. And so I called this place that they had an apartment in our budget, but it wasn't going to be available until September 8th. And so I'm like, well, you know what, right now, this is our best bet. So this is probably what's just gonna have to happen. So I called, they were like, yeah, cool. I was ready, honestly, to just send everything they needed, sign the lease on the spot, like without even looking at the place. But they were like, no, before we rent out a place, like you need to come see it in person. So you and your roommate need to come and see it in person. Meanwhile, my roommate had just gotten back from Guatemala and she lives in Delaware, on the coast in Delaware. So the leasing agent's like, can you guys come at 10 tomorrow morning? And we're just like, okay. So I call my roommate and I'm just like, is there any possible way in the world you can make it here by 10 tomorrow morning? And she's like, sure. So sure enough, she leaves Delaware at like 3 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning, so that she can get here. We go see the apartment, and when I tell you that was the easiest rental process ever, like in my entire existence that I've seen. We ended up getting the place, I didn't know this was showing this whole time. Like, we ended up getting everything done in one day, no problems. Literally in a matter of hours, we secured the apartment and signed the lease.
Akiva, we aren't homeless.
We aren't homeless anymore.
No. Akiva loves me so much that, yeah.
Praise
Let's not
the
start.
Lord.
Let's not start on this drama, but the Lord came through. Bye, guys.
So I'll only be homeless for a week, and that's gonna be okay. And what blows my mind is that, like, I get alerts from my credit card company whenever my credit is run, when I go look at my credit report, etc. And the apartment that we wanted to lease here and my old apartment, they ran from the same credit reporting agency. So it just blows my mind. Like, literally, she looked at the computer, she was like, your credit's fine. Like, so easy, so simple, so seamless. So we were able to just pay what we needed to pay, sign whatever we needed to sign, and literally our lease was signed, place was locked down, secured that very day, with 3 days left to spare before I need to be out of my apartment. And so thankfully that all worked out. So the place that we are in now is $14.25 a month plus electric. It's a lot more square footage than what we would have had in the other apartment, almost double, to be honest. Even though it's a lot more outdated and we're giving up some of the conveniences of my old place, like the covered parking, the in-unit washer and dryer, it definitely is still working out so far. And most importantly, it's within budget. So can't complain about that. So just to give you guys a little bit of insight as to what we had to pay when we were renting this place, we paid first and last month's rent. There was no security deposit involved, and then we also had to pay $150 for a key deposit. So if we don't return all the keys that they gave us, they charge us that $150. And that was about it. And then we just had to secure renter's insurance, which will probably be my next video, all about renter's insurance. So stay tuned for that. So now I literally have 3 days to pack up all of my stuff and figure out where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do. So long story short, since I didn't have anyone to help me move, of course I don't have any friends in this area, any family in this area, even my family that I do have in New York, they were out of town. Like, I just had nobody available to help me. So I was essentially a vagabond for the week. So I was legitimately homeless for a week. Spent the first half of the week at an undisclosed location. And the second half of the week I came back and I was able to spend the latter half of the week with a coworker who graciously offered for me to stay with her and her family. So that was definitely a big help and a big blessing.
We's got keys.
So that whole process and being basically out of pocket for a week was definitely very expensive. When I tallied up all of the costs and things that I had to pay for in that week, it was clear $1,500 plus, because I had to pay for movers at the last minute. And if you know anything about the rental market, September 1st is like the worst day / weekend to move in America ever. And so everywhere, I literally called about 20 moving places until I was finally able to get someone who would actually, one, do it for like the next couple days with very short notice, and do it at a price that wasn't ridiculous, because moving companies are really expensive. I had to secure storage for my things, needed to get everything into storage, etc., just make a plan to get it out of storage back into the place that I was going to be moving into at the end of the week. So it was just a lot of logistics going on. Like I mentioned in my last video, in the process of all this, I ended up renting a U-Haul, trying to get my stuff back into the new apartment. And if you haven't seen that video, please go watch that video, because contrary to our vacation vlog, that video got like no love. So please go watch that. I don't know, maybe it was the algorithm, maybe it was something crazy, but that video got like no views. So if you missed that, I'm linking it here for you guys to see what the real costs of renting a U-Haul are. So now, what happened to my car? So So where we left off in the previous videos, that I was looking at about $3,000 worth of repairs to my vehicle. My inspection was expiring August 31st, the same day that I was supposed to be moving out, and I was essentially looking at about $925. Yeah, $925 out of pocket, make sure I'm not lying to you guys, of that $3,000 cost. So essentially what I ended up doing is, while I was on vacation, instead of paying that $925, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could get this done cheaper somewhere else. While I was on vacation, I actually had my dad take my car to his mechanic in New York, and they were able to do it for $759. They were able to do everything that I was supposed to do at the dealership and some, for less than what I would have paid at the dealership. And even including travel costs back and forth, it still did not, I still saved. I still ended up paying $155 less than I would have paid at the dealership, even after considering all of those factors. So the only thing that was left to do was my whole steering issue. I need to replace my steering rack and get new tie rods, whatever that means. So that I wanted to wait to do until I was back in Massachusetts, because I knew, one, it would be a more involved, you know, project process. It could take, they were estimating it would take up to about a week to complete. And so I didn't want to run the risk of doing that in New York and it not being ready and not having my car to come back up to Massachusetts. But also, I didn't want to be moving without a vehicle. And so essentially what ended up happening is that the dealership, they also didn't even have any loaner cars available to give me until Wednesday during that week that I was out of pocket. So I essentially came back on Wednesday so that I could bring my car in and get the loaner car. So like, it was just crazy because I'm at the dealership, like literally my car is packed to the rim because I'm packing all of my things into my car that haven't been moved into storage. And so I'm literally like transferring things from one car to the next. I had to come back, make trips, etc. They gave me this tiny little dirty loaner car. So did all of that, they put in the claim, and it took forever. What they thought was gonna take 1 week turned into 2 weeks. So I was without my car for 2 weeks. I only just got it back, which is why I'm just recording this video.
Hey guys, so it's finally time for me to go pick up my baby. It's been a whole 2 weeks and they're finally done with my car repairs. So I am in the loaner car right now, as you can see, and about to go get my car. So let's go. Pulling my baby up. She's out there somewhere. Yay! Finally! My baby is back with me, and I'm excited.
Honestly, I'm not complaining because all I can say is extended warranty for the W. Like, I paid, when I look back at my paperwork, I paid $1,995 for that warranty. And for what the claim amount was, like, just look at this. So the warranty company was paying $3,682.47. So all your girl had to pay for was my $100 deductible, which I knew about on the insurance policy, and then $35 to do my inspection, and then there was a $12 part that the warranty company refused to cover, so I paid $12.75 in sales tax for that, and that is all I had to pay to do those extra repairs. So I know I mentioned I did a lot of things wrong in my car buying mistakes video, but I am super glad that that's the one thing that I did right, because I definitely came out on top in that situation. And the last thing I want to say is about my emergency fund. I know in the previous video I had mentioned that I had finally saved up my goal for my emergency fund, and now it was basically in jeopardy because I had all these expenses. But let me tell y'all how, despite all the money I had to pay for my car repairs, for everything involved, for moving, over $1,500, I still managed to keep my emergency fund fully intact. So in a future video, I'm gonna go over my emergency fund savings goals, how I was able to save that much money, and how I was able to keep it intact even amid all of this craziness that was going on. The best place to keep your emergency fund and all that stuff. So that's what I have for you guys today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I definitely love to talk to you guys and get to know you guys. And if you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe before you leave. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.